let's add some vertical circulation elements like ramps and stairs to our site plan. We're going to go ahead and start off by first, let's go to and I look at the design of my house. My front door is facing north, so I'm going to go to the north elevation. And here I can kind of see the doors kind of covered up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and select some items like this tree, and I'm going to hold control while I kind of select those. And I'm just going to temporarily hide those using the eyeglasses. So click on it and select hide element. And then also there's another one. I'm just going to select this, select hide element, and one more here. So I can see the bottom of my door, which is what I'm kind of looking for. Is I want to be able to have a ramp that goes right up to it. So in order to do this, I got to have a level. So I'm going to be on the architecture tab, and I'm going to go to the level command, and I'm going to choose pick lines. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just choose the bottom of the door. So this is kind of like the bottom of the door frame there. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick it, and you're going to see it's going to give me, it says whatever level number it has, doesn't really matter. So I'm going to select it. There's a little white dot here. I'm going to drag this over just so that way that it's kind of out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to be the bottom of the door. And we are going to go ahead and rename the corresponding views. I can go ahead and reset the temporary hide isolate once I'm done. I just needed to be able to see the bottom of the door for that. So let me go ahead and go back to the Habitat for Humanity site plan. Now that we have levels set up, because we have a grade level already, and then now we just need something to get us up to the bottom of the door. So that way we're, kind of in level there. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the visibility graphics. I want to go to the R's. So I'm going to press the R key on my keyboard, and I'm going to uncheck roofs. And then that way I can see, like, here's where my door is and the entrance into my home. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go to under the architecture tab, go to circulation. I'm going to choose ramp. So just to start off over here, before we start drawing anything, let's make sure we change the base level to the grade. And then we want to change the top level to the bottom of the door. And then there's a few other options. I'm going to change my width. Usually default is 3 foot. I usually like to do 3 feet 6 inches just to give some more room. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, and I'm going to click on, when I get up to the edge of this wall, I'm going to go ahead and click. And then if you notice, it's going to show you like how much of a run that you have to make that work. So you'll see it's like 14 feet and a little over 4 inches there that we need to have total to be able to get from one level to the other. So I'm just going to draw this straight run and hit the green check mark just to show you what this looks like. Go to the 3D view. Now you'll see that it's going in the opposite direction. So let me select this, and there's a little down arrow. There we go. And now let's see if it gets up to the level that we're looking at. Looking pretty good. So it does get up to the bottom of the door. Let's go ahead and let's just bump this up about 6 inches for the base offset. And then you'll see it's going to kind of adjust. So then that way the ramp's not kind of embedded in the ground. So our ground kind of slopes as it goes north. So that's why I'm kind of adjusting that. But here you'll see, there we go. There's a ramp leading up to the bottom of the door, and it goes right up to the edge of the house. So this is looking pretty good as far as what we have here. The ramp, though, that we have is about, like you said, it's a little over 14 feet. ADA code says that anything over 10 feet, we need to have a landing, meaning we got to have a flat spot in there that, you don't have this gigantic ramp. So actually, this is not going to work for us, but here's what we can do. I'm going to go ahead and select this ramp and hit delete. Just kind of knowing that for our ramp design, I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm going to pick ramp again. Want to make sure that I've got the same levels. Grade is the bottom. We can go ahead and do a base offset. We'll do 6 inches because that worked pretty well. Let's go ahead and do up to the bottom of the door. Keep the same width. I'm just going to go ahead and keep that and hit apply. But when I go to draw this, I'm going to go ahead and do a very similar process. I'm going to go ahead and click off of this wall. But now you're going to see that the length of this is only going to be about 8 feet. That 6 inches made a pretty big difference. So actually, we could probably use just this straight run, or if we needed to, just to show you the capability, I'm going to go ahead and do about 4 feet. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to go ahead and, line up off of this edge. So see the little tracking line, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to do a little kind of L-shape kind of ramp here, which I think is going to look a little bit better. Let me go ahead and hit the green check mark. It says it's not long enough. Let me flip it so that way it goes down the right direction. And now I should be able to see that here is my ramp that I have modeled in to be able to see that. So there's where it is reaching the bottom of the door. Here's where we see a little bit of a raised level there for the ground. And we have this flat landing in here. Notice how that there's no slope to this one section because we are able to kind of, wheel the person in the wheelchair up, or they can wheel themselves up to that point, maybe take a little bit of a rest, and then there's just a small incline to get up there. So there's a few different ways that you can do a ramp design and be able to kind of have that in, but that's really what we're looking for in terms of we need to have some sort of ramp to be able to put in there. So you can always play around with that and kind of see what kind of ramp designs you can come up with. But that's kind of, how we use ramps to kind of move from place to place in our designs. All right, the next one is going to be down here, as I've got one more area of a back door that leads into our utility room. And this one I'm going to utilize a stair. So very similar. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to grab stair. And you'll see that it's going to ask in a very similar manner. They operate in a very similar way. Is that we're going to go with from the grade being the bottom. Maybe we go ahead and we bump this up about 6 inches, maybe. And even then, let's go ahead and let's keep this at 0. Let's see what it looks like. We're going to go up to the bottom of the door. And then it says it's going to calculate for us the number of risers. And all I got to do is I'm going to find in the middle of the door, I'm going to click, and I'm going to draw out. It says 3 risers are going to be created. And this is kind of what it looks like here. Now I am going to use the align tool, choose the edge of the wall, and then choose the edge of the stairs. So that way they actually line up. And then here is what we've got for our door here. So, all right. So some of our options, I'm going to hit the green check mark. Looks like same thing. If we go down, that's kind of what the down is looking at. So in that direction, let's go to our 3D view to see what it looks like. Let's spin around here. Let's take a look at our stairs, and there we go. So the stairs are modeled in. That's just a couple of steps just to get us up and down from the ground up into our house. And that's just kind of a little bit of a run through of how you can use stairs and ramps in your affordable home design to be able to come up with, number one, that they're ADA compliant, but also to be able to accurately model like how you're able to get from that grade level up into your home, and to make sure that that finished floor level is above, about 6 to 8 inches above to accommodate for building code.